Welcome to Taking Care of Business on Kern Radio News Talk, 1180 for the best in Saturday Talk Radio at 1 o'clock and on 1230 KGEO at 10 o'clock Saturday, and for the very best in Wednesday Talk Radio on 1410 KERI on Wednesday at 1 o'clock. Your host is Clay Koerner, and I'm Marty Pay, and behind the big board, our producer is Greg Held. Hey, Clay, that was a great show last week with Eric Rush, the man who broke the Reverend Wright story 4 years ago.
God, just wasn't enough time.
I know. We're going to have him back, and we're going to talk about his book, Negrophilia. The first time we had him on and we talked about that book, I had some interesting conversations with friends of mine down in South Central. So
we said we'd have him on again. We had him on again, and we still didn't have enough time.
I know.
This is an interesting guy.
Yeah, we're going to have him on for the full hour next time. And in the second half last week, we had a great show with Diana Williams and Heidi Gray, two real estate professionals, talking about the market in Kern County.
You know, I got some positive comments and some positive feedback on that, which surprised me because I was thinking it was a little slow. You know,
I liked it. I liked it a lot. I thought it was a very good segment. Two comments I want to make. Clay and I went to the honor flight return on Sunday night at Bakersfield Airport, and there were I figured about 250 people there. You figure about that? Yeah.
At least.
It was a great sight watching those flags waving, watching those veterans come through the terminal, and I don't think there was a dry eye in the house.
Fire department was there.
Yeah.
There were soldiers there.
Yeah.
Highway patrol. It was interesting.
It was fun. I'm glad we went. We're going to have Layla on in the show in the next couple of weeks to talk about the event, because they're going to do it again in October, which is going to be great.
Hopefully you and I can join them.
Yeah.
We should have gone this time.
We should have gone. Yeah, we should have gone, but I think we may go as, trying to chaperones for some of the veterans. Second comment I want to make is about the POW petition we had with Brenda Weber for Sergeant Bergdahl. Would you believe we had over 150,000 signatures? Thank you, Kern County. And I know Brenda on the air told us that we were responsible for several thousand signatures coming out of California, and it's all you guys, and I want to thank you all very much. And now let's bring them home.
You know, I also heard that Wes and Jeremy, the guys that rode their bicycles across the country, are coming back Saturday at 11:30.
Yes, so today at 11:30.
No, Saturday. I mean, yeah, today at... You're right.
Yes.
Today at 11:30.
Yes, this broadcast on Saturday.
Wow.
And actually, the 10 o'clock show will be helpful. The 1 o'clock show, they'll already be here.
And by the time we get to next Wednesday, they'll be here too.
It'll be academic.
I'm pretty sharp, aren't I?
Clay's not as dumb as he looks.
No, not at all. And I'm awake today.
And Harley's just sitting here not saying anything. Next week, we have Kathy and Mark Abernathy coming in talking about the election. The week after that, we have Michael Reagan coming in to talk about the part-time legislature and that initiative that's going to be on the ballot fairly soon. But today, in the second half, we have John Giandolo, former counter-terrorist agent for the FBI, talking about Sharia law. But in the first half, we have an old friend of the show, 4th District Supervisor candidate, Harley Pinson. Harley, welcome to Taking Care of Business.
Thank you, and thank you for having me on the show.
Harley, it was nice to have you, but we've run out of time.
You know, Clay, I can always count on you. You know, I think your listeners aren't aware of the extent of your fan base, because I almost couldn't get in the building here because of all the groupies. It was like the Beatles' Hard Day's Night movie.
Those were Marty's fans.
Getting in here. And I was almost late, actually, because I had to fight my way through the crowd.
Do you notice a tinge of sarcasm in that?
Well, I'm just glad he noticed the group.
Speaking of fan bases, I looked at your website.
Yeah.
You know, what you need to do with that website, Harley, if I can make any subtle criticism, is put Cindy's picture on the front of it.
Yeah, we're considering that because we think that would be helpful.
I think it'd be very helpful.
My wife is a lot better looking than I am.
You think?
Yeah.
What is your website address while we're at it?
www.harleypinson, HARLEYPINSON.org.
And it actually is a very informative website. It's a very good website.
Yeah, thank you. We're trying to get as much information as we can out in a lot of different ways.
So, Harley, if you should be fortunate enough to get elected, what's the first thing you're going to do? Try to do?
The first thing I'm going to do is, we have a county government that is really fit for the 1940s, when we had about 1/6 of the population that we have now. And we have to dedicate ourselves with diligence and conservative leadership to restructure our county government so that it makes sense for the 21st century. We have 34 department heads who each report to each of the 5 members of the Board of Supervisors. We have 71 commissions and boards. So we need to look at everything and see what is the best way to organize the county government to deliver infrastructure and services to our citizens. And we need consistent, principled, conservative leadership to undertake that is independent, absolutely independent of public employee unions in order to accomplish that. If we let the public employee unions decide how we're going to structure and deliver services, we will fail. We have to have committed, consistent, conservative leadership at all levels of government, and particularly in Kern County.
Our in-studio guest is Harley Pinson, 4th District Supervisor candidate.
So, Harley, historically the unions have run the government here in Kern County as well as other locations.
Well, in recent history, Clay, it hasn't always been that way because we've only had unions in California since 1978.
So since 78, they've pretty much run the government.
Well, and their power has increased over time. They were allowed to form unions after 1978, and about 1980 it started. And their power has increased and increased over time.
Now, I think you said you're not going to take any money from unions, and if not, why not?
Well, because I think when I sit down, if I'm elected to the Board of Supervisors, when I sit down across the table from public employee unions in collective bargaining negotiations, the people of the 4th District need to know that I'm on their side of the table, and that the unions aren't on my side of the table with me, and that I'm not compromised, and that I'm trying to get the best deal I can for the citizens and the taxpayers of the 4th District to deliver adequate services and infrastructure at the lowest cost for the people of Kern County.
Has your opponent taken union money?
Well, he has in past elections for the city council. But he, after about 6 months in the campaign, when I said I wasn't, he was asked in a forum we were both in, and he said that he wasn't going to do it this time. And in a Bakersfield, Californian story, he was asked why he wasn't taking union contributions this time, and he said he didn't want me to make an issue of it. And I thought the issue is whether it's right or wrong to take union money, not whether I'm going to make an issue of it in a political campaign. So I think it showed an absence of conservative leadership on his part.
So you talked about 34 heads and 71 boards and commissions.
Yeah.
And we also talk about increasing employment. How are we going to handle all these extra people and still keep employment up?
I'm not sure what you mean about handling extra people.
Well, we've got so many people right here, all these extra 34 heads of departments and 71 commissions and boards.
Yeah.
How do we get rid of some of these commissions and boards?
Well, first of all, on the commissions and boards, the Board of Supervisors needs to do a complete review of each one of those. They all require staff time. They all require, they have meetings, they have minutes, they have agendas. What do they do, and do they really add value to the people of Kern County? So they need to be looked at one by one, and not whose politics are involved, but what do they add to the county government, to serving the people. Regarding the 34 department heads, we need to have a restructuring so that there are fewer department heads reporting directly to each of the 5 members of the board, so that the board can focus on big issues such as animal control, prison realignment, pensions, high-speed rail, and that the board actually holds hearings on those things. The board right now has a long agenda. Most of it is on the consent calendar, but it doesn't seem to deal with big issues that face Kern County. As I said, in my view, we have a county government that is really fit for the 1940s and hasn't been adjusted since then.
And let's pick up on that when we get back. We'll be back in a moment on Taking Care of Business on Kern Radio, News Talk 1180.